This is the Bar Stewards Inquiry.
You are talking absolute rubbish. Absolute rubbish.
In what way?
You were an underachiever in life. I saved your bacon one time. You were gone.
You handled that well. I couldn't save you. But you did the right thing.
But that's why you don't know anything about racing, John.
I don't say I do.
Right?
I'm saying that...
What have you contributed to racing? You're one of these take-out merchants. Take out all you can.
And it's a very warm welcome to this, the Grand National edition of the Bar Stewards Inquiry. Over the next 45 minutes, we will try and fit in as many Grand National bingo as we can. So do look out for those. For the housewives' favourite and things like that. We'll be taking you through that. Let me introduce you to the most magnificent panel. We have our usual, our what do they call you, John? You're a piece of the furniture, aren't you? Really, you're always
obviously a stool.
Okay, so we have John Leng, and we have tonight King of the Flat, Quentin Franks. How are you, Quentin?
Cathryn.
Yeah,
I'm good, thank you.
Neville, how are you, Neville?
Yeah, very good.
King of Yorkshire, is that correct?
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. Thank you.
And Dublin's finest, Declan, how are you?
I'm good. Good afternoon. Delighted to be back.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, one thing we want to know, Declan, is how are you actually alive after Cheltenham?
Oh, it was touch and go. It was touch and go Saturday morning, but I had a good week. I didn't back any winners, but I had a good time. That's the main thing.
Yeah, you definitely looked as if you were having a good time. And thanks for all the pissed up songs at 3 a.m. By the way. What I particularly liked about it was that as the week went on, by the time I was sort of waking up on Gold Cup morning and thinking, "Oh Christ, what's he doing now?" and pressing play, your voice was like this.
Yeah, the boys in the Arkle bar, the two barmen kept asking me every day, "Is the voice not back?" So I think I got to know everyone that week. It was a good week.
Yeah, no, it was. Okay, so we're going to do the usual. We're going to whiz through everyone's best three bets for the weekend, and then we will cover the TV card for Grand National Day at Aintree, of course, and they focus on the big race itself. But before we embark on this, I just need to tell you a little story about what happened to me last night. So myself and my dear friend Liz, we went across to Swindon. Now, for those of you that don't know, Swindon is not the greatest of places, and I'm not just being like a Cheltenham snob when I say that, but it's a little bit weird. Anyway, okay, so we went over there, and I'm low laughing from you, Declan, at this. So we went over there to see an Elvis tribute act.
Oh, for fuck's sake!
What did I say? I said no swearing and no taking it. So basically, like, saw him in Cheltenham. Absolutely amazing. Had to go and see him again in Swindon. Swindon was the nearest place. So me and my friend get in my car. And by the way, his name is Ben Portsmouth, and he is absolutely brilliant. If you get a chance, you have to go and see him and his band, because they are honestly, you'll love it. Anyway, so get in
They're
the car.
the attractions.
The attractions? What?
Yeah, Elvis Costello and the attractions.
No, not fucking Elvis Costello. No, Jesus.
I thought he was Dan from Portsmouth.
Oh, Lord, Elvis Costello. No, Neville, the Elvis, the king. Anyway, right. So we go across to Swindon, and great show. Anyway, absolutely brilliant show. Get in the car, think, well, be home in about 40 minutes. Just heading out of Swindon, and somebody rear ends my car and writes it off. Now, the person that hit my car didn't speak very much English, so that was the number one barrier. Then she sort of kind of animated that she didn't really want insurance involved. I didn't really want police involved. So I was there trying to sort of like give me a sum of cash and just like have this, that'll patch your car up. And I'm looking at my car thinking, yeah, my car's totally gone. And anyway, so my friend's like, fuck this, we'll call the police. So my friend rings the police, and then whilst we were waiting for the boys in blue, suddenly these gangs started to converge on us. And a lot of people were then sort of bystanding, which actually turned out to be her friends and relations. And then, so we were sort of standing there. I was thinking, this is absolutely ridiculous. Like, here I am on the side of a verge in Swindon, freezing cold. My car's written off, and I need to get back to Cheltenham. And I think that I'm about to be kidnapped by this gang. And so to say I was shitting myself a little bit would have been an understatement. Anyway, built up, and it transpires that this girl really isn't a very good driver and has had loads of accidents and didn't want the claim on her insurance. But unfortunately for her, it kind of is. And so her car's written off, my car's written off, and basically one of the guys in her sort of cohort, shall we say, offered me a new car with my registration plate. And I was like, nah, that's a bit dodgy, mate, you know. And then so the policeman takes me to one side and he was like, look, they're going to try and settle with you in cash. I can't quite work out what's going on here, but it's fucking dodgy. I was like, no shit, really? Okay. And he was like, right. He goes, and he said, your car seems okay to drive. And I was thinking, really? Fucking bumpers hanging off. So anyway, it's a very long story short. Finally limped into Cheltenham last night at 1 o'clock in the morning and went out this morning to have a look at my car in the cool light of day and thought, Jesus Christ, how did I ever get back in that? And it kind of resembles, Declan, you'll know this. Do you remember when the episode of Father Ted?
Oh, yeah. I was thinking Wolf of Wall Street, but you know, that's it. But I know the one of Father Ted, yeah.
Yeah. So my car basically looks like that now. So that was the story. But anyway, you really should go and see the Elvis show.
And the tribute act, what was that like?
It was amazing, Neville. Absolutely amazing. Everybody should go and see Ben Portsmouth and the Taking Care of Elvis band because they are superb. And myself and my friend are actually going to be in Vegas when they're playing, so we'll see them then as well. Yeah, I know. Can't wait.
I would actually urge anybody that hasn't been to Swindon to give it a whirl at some point.
John, don't do it. It's a terrible place.
Well, way back when my erstwhile companion on the gallops at Newmarket Heath, Julian Wilson, spent a lot of time at Swindon. We found out by some miracle he got a seat on the board at Swindon Town FC around the time when Lou McCarey was appointed manager, and it became a bit of a standing joke because I think he was actually trying to get Willie Carson on the board as well at the point.
You'd have to get a stepladder for him, wouldn't you?
Well, yeah, and it was in Newmarket it was a Wednesday morning when we were watching some horses work, and the phone rang, and he looked at his phone. He was a very aggravated man if he was concentrating on one thing and anybody rang him up, you know. And he said, "Oh, fucking hell, it's Lou McCarey." And I thought, oh, this might be good, you know. And anyway, he answered the phone. He said, yes, no. Right, I'll ring you later. Oh, no, you know, I thought, that was a bit terse, you know. I said, everything all right, Joe? You know, he said, that place is a cesspit. I said, all right, why? He said, we've got 6 players out on Saturday. He said, and 5 of them have got a dose. He said, McCarthy knows nothing about it. I thought, well, what do you want him to do? Get the antiseptic out or something?
But that's, I mean, basically, like, honestly, I thought I was sort of worldly wise, but Jesus Christ, I've walked through Aintree on my own at night. I thought I was streetwise. Swindon is a whole different ball game. Just don't go there. Anyway, this is a racing show. Right, we're going to go through the best 3 bets of the weekend. Neville, I do forgive you for saying Elvis Costello, honestly, for Christ's sake. Neville, what's your 3rd best bet of the weekend?
Right, 3rd best bet it's going to be a big price.
Okay.
And it's in the 145 at Aintree, the huge field of handicappers. There's several that are coming on from Cheltenham. One of those is the horse that I'm going to select, it's Harry Fry's horse, a 10-year-old called If the Cap Fits. Now, if you go back 24 months, he would have been within the leading 10 staying hurdlers of that time. He has deteriorated, and he has looked a little bit moody, but he's gotten down such a good mark now, 137, and there were signs that he was coming back to form when he finished 6th at Cheltenham in the Pertemps. And I thought he was given a pretty poor ride, in all honesty. He was ridden by an inexperienced, I think he's an amateur, Ben Bromley.
Ben Bromley.
Yeah, and he kept him on the outside throughout the whole of the race, and he was staying on really strongly at the finish. I think the signs are that he's coming back, and they've just tinkered with the headgear. They've put blinkers on him the last twice, and there's been signs that he's on the way back. He's going to be 20-1. The race is full of horses that have shown the hand, and there isn't anything that's got anything to spare over the handicapper. He only needs to improve 2 or 3 pounds to be very competitive, and he has won round Aintree. So if the Cap Fits is going to be my 3rd best bet, I'm going to go each way. I'm going to break a rule, but I do think he's probably more of an each way bet than a win bet. So I'm going to go each way if the Cap Fits.
Okay, that's brilliant. Cheers. Yeah, that's he can be a bit spooky, can he? He's a bit of a weird character, but
he's a shit. I mean, there's no 2 ways about it. But shits do win races.
They do. I mean, look at John Lane.
Good evening, darling.
Sorry. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, thank you, Neville, for that. Let's get back to seriousness. Okay, Declan, go for it. Have you got a 3rd best bet for me?
Do you know what? I won't mention anything from Aintree because we're gonna go through the races, aren't we? So
yeah.
I looked away from Aintree, and there's a pretty dismal card on at Tremor on Sunday, and it might be easy to find winners there. And I'm actually surprised Nicholas didn't send Brave Man's Game there because there's a few other races.
No. Did you not hear the latest Brave Man's Game?
Yeah, that he left it in Cheltenham.
He left it in his box.
Stop! It's brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant. Look, the 2 of these, there's 2 handicap chases on. They're probably both going to be around 10-1, so I'll just go with the 4:30 first. Fangio de Vessi, he achieved a rating of 119 over hurdles. Now, he never really got to test that. It was from winning a maiden hurdle. He never ran in a handicap, so we're sort of trusting the handicapper. He was behind Siberian Star at Leopardstown, but does have a big swing in the weights. He ran okay in more competitive races than this, and he's dropped down to a mark of 116. I think he definitely has a chance. He was running okay at night when he unseated. I think off that mark of 116 here, he's going to have a chance on Sunday.
Okay, good stuff.
He will prefer going around Tremor as well, I think, than Nace.
Okay, why likes a few undulations?
yeah, exactly. But he'll it's the direction I think he'll prefer.
Okay. Right, Quentin. Don't tell me it's going to be at Thurskill Wolverhampton, isn't it?
You're right, Cathryn. It's a poor flat cards tomorrow, to be honest. So this one comes at Thursk in the lucky last. I'm going to take a flyer on one at a big price here. I'm going to put up a horse called Classy Owl. It's a ground angle here. He's been on good to firm ground, but he moves like a crab, and he moves like a horse that will appreciate ease underfoot. He's a big, gross sort of horse. I expect him to do better from 3 to 4. I'm pretty confident that he's going to take off this season. He's down to a mark of 57. It's damn Classy Anne. She showed little in one run as a 2-year-old. Again, showed little as a 3-year-old. Started a 4-year-old season on a mark of 45 and ended up the season rated 80, I think it was, 79 or 80. Soft ground was the key to her, so I'm kind of hoping, given the way he moves, given her liking for mud, that he'll be able to take off this season. There looks to be enough pace on his side of the track. Concern would be whether he's straight enough for this, but given I think he needs soft ground, I think Jim Goldie will know he wants soft ground. I suspect he'll be straight enough for this. He's 28-1, and that's my 1 point bet.
Okay, and just for our one listener, if you just say the name and the time again, please.
Oh, yep, it's the 5 o'clock at Thirsk, and it's Classy Owl.
Classy Owl. Okay, that's brilliant. Okay, John, don't tell me. It's a flat horse, isn't it?
Yeah, you see, you think unpredictable, and once again...
Say, like, you're putting up... If you put up flat horses on Grand National Day, that's actual blasphemy, don't you?
Well, you know, you were predicting a flat tip here, and rather late last night in Swindon, you ended up with it all over your face.
Don't remember that bit, to be fair, but yeah, go on.
The third best bet tomorrow is if the cat fits in the 150
Hey.
For all the reasons that Nev highlighted, I really liked the last run. I thought it showed quite a lot of encouragement, and I'm going half a point each way.
Okay, cheers, John. That's great. And John, may as well stay with you. What's your second best bet?
Now then, this isn't Thirsk.
Yeah.
It's in the 350 at Thirsk, and it's Highway Grey.
Highway Grey, okay.
Yeah, Tim Easterby's. Tim's tend to need a run anyway. I watched this one very closely at Doncaster on seasonal debut. Did everything I would have expected of it. Came up there, made his round very easily. And then when lack of a race told on him, he folded up a bit. But I expected that. I wasn't disappointed by it at all. He's off 82 here. He's one off 86. The only worry that his better efforts on balance are probably on good to firm to good to soft. It's soft tomorrow. He has got a second to his name on soft at Ponty, but I would urge a bit of caution if the rain comes.
Okay.
Point each way.
Point each way, Highway Grey.
Yeah.
Great stuff. Okay, Declan, second best?
Tremor, 5 o'clock on Sunday. This mare won at Fairyhouse on Sunday, a regular heartbeat. She actually beat another mare I think I put up the last time I was on here, Dazzling Dove. She won off 102 over 2 miles over hurdles on Sunday. She's dropped to 99 over fences and runs over 2 miles. She has some of her beginner chases were over 2.5 miles, but the best performance was over 2 miles, was behind Magical Days. So she could be well enough in off 99 here, irregular heartbeat, especially she's in good form after winning Sunday.
Okay, brilliant stuff. Okay, Quentin, is it you? It is your turn, isn't it? Yes, it is.
My second best bet comes in the last at Wolverhampton, Cathryn. And that
okay.
Is half 8. And I'm going for a betting amateur riders contest, which isn't really the norm. But I'm happy to have the Resdev way on side. He's 9-4 in pretty much across the board. I made him a fair bit shorter than that. He's reunited with Becky Smith, who goes well with him. I felt he was a lot better than the result when winning at Lingfield. Ended up 3-4 deep at various stages, clocked a big figure for the Greys, and hasn't really been seen to best effect under Rab Havlin in 2 starts on the level since. It's a piss poor race, to be honest. There doesn't look a lot of pace, but he's tactically versatile. Given the strong travelling nature of him, I don't think the drop back in trip will be any hindrance at all. 9-4, 2 points win.
Okay. Brilliant stuff. Thank you, Quentin. Let me see. So I need to go around again. Yes, I do. I haven't missed anyone out, have I? No, I have. Neville. Oh my God, I'm sorry, Neville.
Okay.
Tell us.
My second best bet is in the Grade 1 staying hurdle, and I'm going to go for. I think he'll probably go favourite Time Hill.
Okay.
He just never seemed to get a clear passage at Cheltenham in the stayers hurdle. Firstly, Florian Porter was given the most fantastic ride from the front, and he slowed it down, stacked him up, and then he went, did Florian Porter, and Time Hill just seemed to always be in a pocket, and he's a horse that doesn't quicken instantly, and he needs to be gradually woken up, and rather than just be asked to quicken. And I just felt as if he is probably a pound or two better than that run. I'm not certain Florian Porter's going to get the comfortable lead he'll get as he did at Cheltenham, although he will obviously set a decent pace, which is what Time Hill wants. And Time Hill is an astonishing horse. He won this race last season.
Yeah.
I don't think it's any stronger. It's probably on a par of last year, but he's an astonishing horse. He's run 13 times in his life. He's only ever once been out in the first four, and he invariably runs in Grade 1 races. There's holes to be picked with most of them. Champ is a horse that needs to be fresh. Will he be fresh after just 23 days after Cheltenham? Plus, you can't even trust him.
Yeah,
Sire de Belay is probably operating half a stone, maybe even more than that, below his best of last season. And then you are looking at horses who have to find at least 10, maybe even a stone, just to match Time Hill. I think he should be. I think the 6 or 7 to 4 would be a fair price, but I've noticed that he's about 11 to 4. I think he's a real good bet, Time Hill. I love this horse. There are 2 horses in training that I've got nothing to do with. I obviously love the horses that are in our yard, obviously, but Sky Pirate's one who never runs a bad race, and Time Hill's another one. I absolutely love Time Hill, and I think tomorrow will be his day. I think he's got a first-rate chance, and I also think that Tom O'Brien, although he might not look the most stylish, which is an understatement, but horses just run so well for him, and I think he's one of the most underrated jockeys in the weighing room.
Yeah, no, I would agree with that. Thank you for that, Neville. That's a good shout. Right, we'll move on to number 1 slot before we tackle the Aintree TV card. Neville, I may as well stay with you while we're there, so I don't forget you this time around. Okay. What's your best bet of the weekend?
Well, my best bet, and I thought this horse would be a lot shorter than he is, so I debated whether to make him my banker, but I really do fancy this one. First race at Bangor, the 155. It's the least experienced horse in the race, the youngest horse, only a 4-year-old, Line of Descent, trained by Warren Greatrex, ridden by Cailin Quinn, who claims a very handy £7. Not that I think this horse needs to be claimed off to be well handicapped. He cost 135 grand out of Simon and Ed Christopher's yard last season after showing really useful form on the flat. He ran off 84 at Musselburgh over 1.6 miles and ran second, so he can at least operate to 84 on the flat. He runs over hurdles in his first handicap off 103, and he's only had 2 starts over hurdles so far. He was 4th first time at Newbury in a race that has worked out really well. I was looking through all the horses that surrounded him. Forever Williams ran one in graded races since. As to TJ Eckelberg, who was second, has won twice, and there's also Maka Devassi of Jane Williams that was just in front of him. On that form alone, I think a mark of 103 is very lenient, and he didn't perform badly either afterwards at Hereford when he finished 3rd. I did notice that Timeform had said that he didn't quite run to the same mark, but I don't think he ran much below his Newbury form. He goes up in trip as he stayed well on the flat, and off his rating of 103, I don't think there's anything that can touch him. My worry is that I noticed he was 7 to 1 with most of the bookmakers earlier on this afternoon. I thought, well, that's crazy, that is. I thought everybody had been wanting a piece of him, but I have noticed that he has been supported. But I'm going to make him my nap. Line of Descent, I think he'll love the trip, and I think he is the best handicapped horse of tomorrow.
Okay.
Anywhere.
All right, thank you for that, Neville. Yeah, I think they've found quite a weak opportunity here. So yeah, we'll be following you in on that one. Quentin, surprise me. Is it flat or jumps your number 1?
It's flat, Cathryn.
Of course it is.
Yeah. But I'm taking on John with my best bet, and it comes in at 350 at Thirsk, and I want to be with Contact. David and Nicola Barron, since they started the season well, a couple of winners, a 3rd and a 2nd since the partnership was in their name. He returns from a 217-day break here, but won well first time out last season. It was their effort at Haydock last year that caught my eye. He put up a really big figure when chasing home Tascassan and Summer's Night, strong on the clock, and he returns here £3 lower than that. Happy to put a line through the Shergar Cup run. He was going right-handed and doesn't seem to put up his best in, well, going right-handed, and, well, it's the Shergar Cup, isn't it? So why would you? And then Haydock, on his final start of his 3-year-old career, he was dropped out in a steadily run race. Ray Dawson made a sweeping move and he just blew up. I don't think he gets 14 furlongs, and they drop him back to 12 here tomorrow. I had him at the top of the market. There looks to be enough pace in it with One Day Montauban, Stayed Bliss and Emrin likely to press on. I do agree with John that Highway Grace certainly caught the eye, and old Happy Tim seems to be needing to run, so I'd expect that to step forward, but it was Contact for me at 13 to 2, 7 to 1.
Okay, cheers. Is that a new one for our glossary, Happy Tim? Is that official, that one?
Right.
Yeah. You agree with that one, John?
Absolutely. You wouldn't find a more miserable get.
Really?
No. Honestly, you can send him into a kid's party on Christmas morning and he'd piss on the presents.
Presents, that's superb. I think I'm going to start using that. Brilliant. Okay. Yeah, fair enough. Understand. Yeah, that has to go in the glossary. Right, John, go on. You're number one.
Happy Tim will be thrilled with me because this is one of his. We're in the 4:30 at Thirsk, and Bastille is the one where the lucky pin has fallen. Now, this ran in what looked on paper to be a fairly decent maiden at Donny at the Lincoln meeting, and there were some interesting horses in. There was a Haggis one at Gosden. There was a horse called Barley that won a maiden at Nottingham this week, and while I was eagerly anticipating to make notes on all of them, I finished up making the biggest note on this thing.
Okay.
Reminded me very much of the big clumsy kid at school that had outgrown everything, including his brain, when he'd hit puberty, and couldn't get out of his own way when the stalls opened. Didn't know what day it was. Shuffled along a bit by Thick Dave, trying to educate him. And what really caught my eye was when the pace quickened, because there went no pace as well. When the pace quickened about 3.5 out, this thing held his own for about a furlong, where it just looked as though it was moving at half speed. The scope and the size of this thing is something to say. I mean, whether Thirsk will suit him down to the ground, I don't know. But believe me, this is a toe lit.
Okay.
And Broadspear will make the market here, given he was beaten favourite in the Convivial. Probably found the ground a bit lively that day, but he's got a rotten draw to contend with. This boy's bouncing out of the 5 box. As we know, Thick Dave's too thick to stop him, so we'll be open for a positive ride. I think the horse will wake up a ton from the Doncaster race.
Okay.
At 22 to 1 is fucking ridiculous. I'll have 1.5 points each way.
Okay. All right.
Thank you.
I like that. I like that, John. You know, strong opinions. Absolutely. Declan, have you got one for us that will, trainer that will piss on a kid's presents on Christmas Day?
I found one there. I had a little look while everyone was talking. The bumper at Tramore, I didn't go very far looking. The bumper at Tramore on Sunday, it's 5:30. There's a horse in here called I Am Shadow. She's a half sister to, I don't know whether you remember, Dawn Shadow. They actually, she's the same connections. Well, I think Dawn Shadow was that low, but Kieran Murphy has taken over the yard now. But they thought enough of Dawn Shadow to run her in the Drinmore, which Delta Work won. She fell in the race and she never really recovered, but she was quite smart. She's out of a mare called Korsky Shadow. She's a homebred. She's by Getaway. But our first bumper, which I expect her to come on from, was won by Law Ella, who was second to a short diamond yesterday. So I think she'll be a big price. She could be about 20 to 1. I'd be expecting a big improvement. And look, it's a bumper, so they'll definitely be trying anyway.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome. Like that. So we've got horses in the double figures as top bets. Great stuff. Right, let's look at this Aintree card. You know, I've been sat in here, like, you know, having to listen to all this flat stuff whilst chewing my nails, wanting to get a grip on Aintree. Obviously, we've spoken about 145, both of you going for John and Neville going for If the Cap Fits. See, 145 is on RTV. ITV Races start at 225 with the Betway Mersey Novices Hurdle, 2 mile 4. Who wants to kick off the Aintree card? Don't all shout at once.
I can.
Okay.
Well, it's Three Stripe Life ran a race that probably ran his best ever race to date when chasing home Sir Gerhard at Cheltenham, and is an obvious place to start. That Ballymore run is as good as anything on show and has been given a rating of 150. Gordon Elliott's horses are, you wouldn't say they were flying. They're not out of form, but they're not. Everything they are running well, but they're not all running well, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
And I'm quite happy just to pass that over, particularly with it's only less than a month since Cheltenham.
Mm-hmm.
I thought Nicky Henderson's horse, Walking on Air, didn't have any right to be one of the favourites. I felt as if, all right, he'd beaten a horse at Newbury called He Could Be the One, but that was conceding £7, and it's very hard to work out how good he is.
I think the price there is factored into the breeding, isn't it? Obviously, a child of refinement. I think that's what most people are going on there, and that obviously for everything the Newbury one.
She hasn't actually thrown anything sensational, though, has she? Refinement.
What has she thrown? The horse that used to be
She's thrown one. I think she's thrown one good one.
The horse that was with Joseph O'Brien. Can't remember the name. Can you remember the name, Declan? It'll come to me soon.
Who was it?
Refinement. What she's had on running. There was a horse.
Risk Factor, was it?
It was a horse. It ran in the Cheltenham bumper.
Did the horse in the Tabor colours?
Yeah.
Yes, it was. Meticulous.
That's Meticulous. That's well done. Yeah, that's the one. Yeah, no, I mean, there's nothing.
It's a great pedigree.
Yeah.
But I don't think she's bettered herself. Anyway, Walking on Air's form, you're taking it on trust how good he is, and he's on the bare form. He's got to find a few pounds. Uh-huh. I thought that maybe the one of the Alan King horses could win, Harbour Lake or North Lodge. I was really impressed with North Lodge. I know he got beat at Kelso, but he was conceding his penalty, and I think he's for a horse with so little experience, But again, it's probably not a race to get too heavily involved in.
No. I mean, obviously, Declan, I was going to ask you about this. Obviously, Good Risk at All just missed the cut for the county, and Gordon told him to fuck off.
He's a bit keen, that horse. Do you not think he's too keen for 2.5?
He won it. Did he win his handicap over 2.5? Good Risk at All. He was thrown in though, like he was. Yeah.
I do have him down as a Grade 1 horse in waiting. I know, obviously, they tried desperately to get in at Cheltenham, so and have come here for a Grade 1 as opposed to the county. I do have him down as a Grade 1 horse. What do you think, Declan?
I did. I actually backed him anti-post for the Supreme because his bumper form was looking really, really strong, but he just kept hitting the bar then. Does he have bumper form that ties in with Gelino Bello, actually, who won today?
Yeah, and L.A. Bell has form.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not willing to discard him just yet, but he does have an awful lot to prove, and I think, he's the likes of Three Stripe Life is a genuine Grade 1 horse in my opinion, so he's got to have to step up. But
yeah.
I'll let Neville continue.
What one that I didn't mention that you've just mentioned, L.A. Bell, she's got form round Aintree, and I think the step up in trip will suit her. Yeah, and of course she gets the mare's allowance, which takes her to just about second or third best behind Three Stripe Life. So I think she has to be considered. But you have to take the stamina on trust. I mean,
Yeah,
it's not guaranteed just yet, is it? I just don't think it's a race to get involved in, really.
Okay. What about my two flat correspondents, John, Quentin? Anything to add?
I thought Colonel Mustard in the library with a candlestick was interesting with the hood on at the price, but just because I think he'll travel nicely down there. But I think 3 Straight Life's going to be hard to beat. I couldn't really back him at 5-2 with 11-4. I think he's priced up right.
Yeah. Do you think the stewards will let the BFG have a winner?
Well, I don't know. If the horse farts on its way around the parade ring, they'll probably demote him to 5th.
Yeah. Quentin, does this interest you at all? Probably not.
No, it did.
Okay.
I was happy with Good Risk at all, to be honest. They're quite happy to wave goodbye to a mark of 137. I get he travels strongly, but he's travelling strongly against inferior rivals at Ascot last time out. Big on the clock that day. I think this Good to Soft round will be absolutely fine. I think he's a genuine graded horse. The market's kind of put him into place. Like, he's rated 137, and he can't beat what's Gordon's rated 150 odd.
Yeah.
Can't beat that. I'd have him shorter than the 7-1 on offer.
Okay.
Better race, travel into it well. I'm very happy with that at 7-1.
Okay, great stuff. Right, we'll move on to the.
I didn't get a goal, Cathryn.
Oh, sorry, Dan. Sorry, I thought you'd. I thought I'd come to you, but I probably dreamt that somewhere along. The most bizarre 24 hours I've had. I probably dreamt that. Go for it.
Look, I love 3 Stripe Life. He was second in the Ballymore. I really, really like him, but I do always try to avoid horses who ran at Cheltenham at this meeting. Like, it's so unforgiving for horses who are feeling anything. There's nowhere to get a breather into them, and if you're feeling the pain, it's an end-to-end gallop at Aintree, and they just don't get home. And I actually think if there's a horse who deserves a grade 1, it is 3 Stripe Life, because he's been so unlucky all season.
Yeah.
They missed the last hurdle at Leopardstown. I think he'd have asked Sir Gerhard serious questions that day, but because his jumping was electric down the back, and Sir Gerhard wasn't jumping at all. But because they missed the last, Sir Gerhard just galloped them into the ground, and he put the pressure on 3 Stripe Life, who made a mistake at the last. But it would have been the other way around. He'd have been asking them serious questions. But unfortunately, there was low sun, so they missed it. But even at Christmas, he jumped up the arse or something. So unlucky against Mighty Potter. He does deserve this, but it's just so hard to put your trust in anything who's had a hard race at Cheltenham. Walking on there, I think is, he's full of Nicky hype, isn't he? Probably full of something else as well. But, he was behind Shall We Have One More in his bumper, and that form, you have the ill-fated Shall We Have One More, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But the form's not really working out. His Newbury form's only okay. Colonel Mustard out of Void, I think he's a really good horse. He's, really good place form in grade 1s, behind Sir Gerhard, behind John Bond in grade 2 at Ascot. But again, it was a big run from him in the county, and they really went for it. The two horses, they really did. Conor gave him a good ride, and he just really bumped into one, didn't he? Like, Statement was, even though the handicapper went to town on him, he was still thrown in. The two I like actually ran behind John Bond. My eye has been behind John Bond. He got weight from John Bond that day, but he gave Constitution Hill a lot of weight early on in the season, and he's coming here having a boy at Cheltenham, and I think he's a decent enough horse. There's no John Bond to worry about today. There's no Constitution Hill to worry about today, and you're looking at the good horses in the race, the 3 Stripe Life, who could be still feeling Cheltenham. But the one I'm most keen on is Nell's Son. I thought when he was behind John Bond at Haydock, he was crying out for further.
Yes.
He's gone to Kelso, and he beat North Lodge, who's in here, like, in the shadows of the post. He just got there. Yeah. I think he's improving. He also beat Bold Endeavour, who was pulled up today. I think he made a mistake, but I think Poundland could also be a good horse. I think Nelson could be a bit of a surprise here at a big price. I know there's decent horses in there here, but there's holes to pick in them all. There's holes to pick in LA Bell. You know, even Stage Star, who won the Shallow, I don't rate the Shallow form at all. He was pulled up in the Ballymore. I think there's too many holes to be picked in a lot of them, and I think Nelson, he's gonna relish this. I think he loved this trip.
Okay, great stuff. Thank you, Declan. I'm glad you reminded me that I hadn't let you have your full speech there. So moving on to the 3 o'clock, the Poundland Maghull Novices Chase 2 mile event. Who loves chases?
Is Poundland like a Euro shop? Is it?
Yeah.
Is that the prize money? Is it?
Yeah, it's like, I can't remember what it is in Ireland. What's the...
Well, with the cost of living going up, they're going to make it the 30 bob shop, aren't they?
Although weirdly though, they've kind of diversified a bit. You can go into Poundland these days and there's like, you could be like, that's a £5 and stuff like that. Yeah, so kind of, you know, product diversification and all that. Right, who loves chases? I know who loves chases. John Lang loves chases. Go on, John, anything for me?
This won't take long. Just back the Arkle winner at 4 to 6. He'd win 6 out of 10 of these, wouldn't he?
Yeah, he's brilliant. Absolutely. I think I've talked at length before about my love for Edwardstone and how genuine he is, and that it's a strike for the good guys of the game, isn't it, Edwardstone? Does anybody see anything other than Edwardstone running tomorrow before I get into this race?
I think they're going to go a mad gallop, aren't they? They've got For Pleasure, who only knows one way of running, and Gentleman to Me is exactly the same. So they're going to set the race apart there for Edwardstone. If he's still in the same form as it was 25 days ago, whatever it was, the race is going to be set up for him, isn't it?
Yeah. He's got such a fantastic attitude, I think, Edwardstone.
Yeah, he's got everything.
Yeah. Okay, so shall we brush over that one? Nobody else wants to throw their hat into the ring with something bizarre?
You can't be letting odds-on shots go off like that. You know, you can't. Like, I do think he's head and shoulders above all the 2 mile chasers. Actually, looking back at the Arkle, it was probably quite poor. Like, Gabinaco stayed on for second. You know, there's probably no real superstars in there unless it's Edwardstone. And look, he's a really good horse. I hope he goes on and he does it in open company. He's probably not getting the credit he deserves, but he did run at Cheltenham. He could be still feeling it. Like the rest of them, it is hard to take him on, but like third time lucky, he's a bit of a spoofer and he's well held. You know, Mick Pastors at nothing really. Amarillo, Sky ran at Cheltenham, For Pleasure ran at Cheltenham, and Fugitive probably has no chance. But Gentleman to Me, like he's won 2 chases long odds on. He probably beat a lot of non-triers the last day, but he has good beginners form, and beginners chases in Ireland can be as good as grade ones at times. Like he's behind, he was behind Fairly Hollow, and he was behind Hot and Clare at Christmas. I was there that day at Leopardstown, and Hot and Clare was really, really good. Like that was really, really impressive. And I think he's one that's got to improve again next year. I think he's only a 5-year-old. But and maybe Hot and Clare is not a 5-year-old, is he?
6.
6, is he? I think he's one to improve. That was a really, really impressive at Christmas. And I suppose if you're going to try to take Edwardstone on it, I think it has to be with Gentleman to Me. He's the least exposed. We don't know what he can do. And I just can't be letting odds on shots go off.
Okay.
Taking them off, trying to get them beat.
I would slightly disagree with that. Like, Edwardstone's the right favourite. He probably deserves to be shorter. Like, I hate Third Time Lucky. I didn't like him at the start of the season. I loved it when Skelton shot his bolt early in that Sandown. But I think he deserves to be second favourite, to be honest. He's been freshened up. Like, he chased home Edwardstone in a monster time at Warwick. He's going to have the perfect setup here to pick up the pieces. I would have him second favourite over Gentleman to Me.
Will he be picking up the pieces, though, with Harry on board? He's absolutely losing the plot, like, you know.
Yeah, well, you saw it at Warwick. They're just going to ride him chilly. Like, that's what I think they'll do. They'll just sit, ride him chilly, try and pick up the pieces.
It's National Day, Quentin. Harry will get in both home at Anchorbridge.
Harry needs a hood. He needs the red hood, and then he needs the hood in the race.
Fine, I agree with that. If I can get odds against on third time lucky in a match bet against Gentleman to me, then I'll be backing that because I'd have it odds on.
Yeah, I mean, old Hazard, he was celebrating like he'd won the national today, wasn't he, on Langadan?
Yeah.
Very, 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 very animated. No.
He must have backed it SP.
It's just, I don't know, Langadan. I don't know. It just doesn't do it for me. But anyway, okay, interesting views on that one. Move on to the Liverpool hurdle. We know that Neville is very keen on Time Hill. Declan, just from your point of view, I know you're a big Flooring Porter fan. Fantastic ride at Cheltenham, and as everyone thought that the occasion would get to him, but it didn't. Obviously, Cheltenham was really loud this year. Aintree is always really loud. He's proved that he can run in front of a crowd. I know he is a bit mad, but he didn't look that mad at Cheltenham. Do you think that he will still be superior to Time Hill here?
I'm not a big Flooring Porter fan.
Are you not? I thought you were.
No. I'm always trying to get him beat. I couldn't take him. I couldn't take him at Cheltenham because he is a lunatic. Like he bolted at Punchestown last year with no crowd. And I thought he would boil over, but I thought he was very, very professional and he had the right man on board.
Yeah.
You know, and fair play to Danny Mullins because he was in a position where he was kind of too light to be riding over jumps and he was too heavy to be on the flat, and he found life quite difficult and he got an awful lot of stick, but geez, he's turned into some rider. He's absolutely exceptional. Like that was, you know, it was some ride he gave him. You know, he stacked them up at the top of the hill and it was exceptional, you know. I didn't actually see it properly until I got home, but you know, it was some ride. But look, again, he is top class. You know, he was probably unfortunate at Leopardstown because Classical Dream bolted. But
another nutter,
another absolute head case. He could be value here if you want to ignore the fact that horses don't always recover from Cheltenham. He's good value here because he's probably the best around. Like I think one of the lads mentioned Champ is best when fresh, and I fully agree with that. Like, you know, he's nearly won a 2 mile chase.
Yeah.
When his first start of the season, then he won a Ascot his first start of this season. I can't really be having him. Time Hill, I think, is a really, really classy horse. Really classy staying hurdler. But the classy horses don't always make the best staying hurdlers. He did win this last year now, but look, he's ran a big race at Cheltenham. He was second. Sorry, the Bearlake's probably just below top grade. He was 11th in the Pretend, so I think he's had his chance of trying to win a Grade 1. Ashdale Bob is a horse I really like. He was very, very good in the Galmoy at Gowran. He was just touched off with a brilliant ride from Mark Ryan on the Devil's Coachman in the Boyne Hurdle, and he was third in the Coral Cup. You know, if he can, he's ran at Cheltenham.
Isn't he?
Yeah, he is. Like, there's two of them here that have ran a Haydock when it was almost unraceable, and I said that day I couldn't back a horse that ran that day again this season. Now, I know Third Wind won the Pertemps. Third Wind did run the race that Thomas Darby and Molly Zolly's Wishes ran in, but I couldn't confidently put a case forward for any horse that ran that day. The ground was too bad, and jockeys just lost the plot and went too fast. Two outsiders I think could run a big race. Kishari, he ran a fine race in the Stairs. Now I know I'm sort of being a bit of a hypocrite here, but he has won here. I think he could if he's not feeling Cheltenham, he could run a big one. But Patrick Griffin's horse, Right Madge, is 100 to 1. He's won an awful lot of money in France. He's won graded chases in France. He's won hurdle races in France. It was a surprise to see him come over to Ireland. His first run was in the Red Mills Champion Hurdle Trial at Gowran. He ran that sort of race, but it was over 2 miles. He's stepping up the tree here. But he's gone and won at Down Royal over 3.5 miles, I think, on Paddy's Day. He beat a decent enough field. I think Samco was in the field, actually.
It was. He beat Augusta Gold,
Yeah, and Augusta Gold, the mare, Like, he's running, Samco's running the Grand National tomorrow.
Yeah.
Roy Madge is if he takes the day's hurdles, 100 to 1 is ridiculous. It's absolutely off the wall. Like, you know, for a horse that's won as much prize money as this fella has, He's won 7 chases in France. He's won 1 hurdle in 32 starts. He's obviously got a lot of ability, and I just think he's totally disrespected in the market here. He was actually entered in the national. He was the 4th reserve, and James Reevely was going to come over and ride, but Darrell O'Keefe takes the ride here. And you know, if Lauren Porter's feeling Cheltenham still, if it's left a mark, this is wide open, and
absolutely,
could not throw a few euro on a 100-to-1 shot. Has good form.
Brilliant stuff, like that, Deck. Thank you. Right, flatheads. Anything for this? Flatheads. It's getting bad when you laugh at your own jokes.
So it's like American serviceman haircuts.
I mean, that's actually what came to mind when I said that. Yeah. What are your views on this? On this, what seems to be another version of the Stayers hurdle?
I'll be heading to the fridge, getting the pate out, and giving it a
Yeah. Getting ready to see Venetia in the finery.
Oh, I told you, I'm off Venetia now after Roe Pigel ran like a pig owl. So it's all about Rebecca now.
All about Rebecca now. Okay. Well, sadly, obviously, she doesn't have any runners. She
doesn't have any winners anyway, so it doesn't matter.
True. Yeah. Quentin, anything for you in this?
One to play, probably in running. See if Flooring. Ashdale, there's 2 pace angles. Flooring Porter, Ashdale, Bob. Sit there, look at the clock through the first furlong or so, and go from there. If Flooring Porter's semi-uncontested on the front end, he wins this. You got to factor in Cheltenham, but I'm pretty sure he just beats this lot. It's very, very samey bunch.
Okay, good stuff. Right, we've got a handicap, a 3-mile 1 furlong handicap chase to get out of the way before we talk about the end game, the Grand National.
They never used to do this on National Day, did they?
No, the National used to be next.
I mean, 3 miles. The chance of half a dozen national riders ending up in hospital, isn't it?
Yeah. I know it's quite bizarre, isn't it? 2-3 miles.
I think they moved it because of the football and shit that's on before.
Yeah.
So it's like after full times and that.
Yeah.
Should have moved it to Friday. Be over now.
I say it's absolutely dancing up there tonight. I do actually have a slight fancy in this, but I don't know, his horses are so in and out. I never know where I am with them. But I did half fancy Killer Kane in this off 10-2. Does anyone else have a strong fancy?
I like Killer Kane too.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. He sort of got his act together. I knew of Killer Kane when he was a point-to-pointer because he beat for Big en France, and I knew the man who owned and trained for Big en France. So he had told me to watch out for him, and then he was sold for like 350 grand. And he really struggled. Like sometimes, if you're buying a point-to-pointer, there's a good chance you're buying a boat. Like, even if he's They take a few years to come to hand. I think he's finally got his act together. He's won 2 novice handicaps now. He's still relatively unexposed, where a lot of these are quite exposed. And I just think he's got to be better than 131. He could be, if he continues to progress, he's got to be better than that. Like, I think he will develop into maybe a high-end handicapper. Like, I do think he's got a lot of stick. I think he's better than this anyway. And the other one I like is Captain Nord, who went up £8 for beating Kitty's Light at Kempton, and that probably is not looking overly harsh now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the 2 of them would have a decent chance.
Okay, Nev, you like this one?
Well, the handicapper must be feeling rather. He's probably got mixed feelings about this race because Shan Blue would have won the race at Wetherby, the first graded chase to see the Charlie Hall, by 20 lengths. Mm-hmm. But because he fell at the 3rd last, he can't alter his rating. So he's able to run off 148. He would probably have run to 165 that day had he stood up. He was off with an injury subsequently, and they brought him back for the Gold Cup. And although he was 6th of... No, it wasn't the Gold Cup, was it? Was it the Gold Cup he ran in?
I know, wasn't it?
The Ryanair, sorry.
Yeah.
It was Ryanair. He was 6 of 7, but he still ran to his rating of 148, even though he was beaten 32 lengths by Allaho. He's surely on his Charlie Hall form, he's better than 148. He's got to be. But then again, the price is factored into that. Do you want to take 5-2 or 9-4? He is without doubt the standout, but he's going to make the market for everything else. And I don't know what you did. There's nothing that really is outstanding amongst the others. But Shan Blue, off 148 on his Charlie Hall form, he wouldn't come off the snaff, would he?
Okay, yeah. I see that angle. Yeah, I do.
The problem is Hardy's probably kicking for home now, though. Is he?
Yeah.
He's just gone for it.
That literally took the words right out of my mouth. Like that, you look at it and you go, yeah, but we all know that in these sort of good races, Harry does tend to get a bit overexcited, and that would be my concern.
Yeah, it's slightly downhill out the parade ring, isn't it? I think he'll the chance to get a momentum and kick off.
Just put a hood on him.
Anyone
Pair of
else?
earplugs.
Jesus, he needs the works anyway. Anyone else got anything to shout before we move on to the Grand National?
Yeah,
The one. Go on, after you, John. After you.
I thought Tony Blowjob's horse had a chance to bounce back. Sam Brown.
Okay, yeah.
Attritional round last time, probably too soon after a hard enough race the time before, and he's had thick end of 2 months off to freshen up for this. Was nicely fancied for that Haydock race and went all right for the first 100 yards or so. But yeah, I think if you wanted a sporting bet at a sporting price, I think that one might go well tomorrow.
Okay. And Quentin?
The one that interests me, I put him up on the Cheltenham podcast, T-Clipper. He got mucked around at the start that day. There was a second start, ended up shuffled back, and then made good headway through the field. But the pace wasn't stopping. He ended up blowing up because of the way he made his effort. But it was first start after wind surgery. The way he went through the race suggests he's well handicapped, and he's been dropped £1 for that. Similar, he came here after Cheltenham last year and ran a big race over hurdles, but I still think he's well handicapped. The price has kind of ebbed away throughout the day. It was 8-1 this morning. It's now 6s. If he drifts out on the machine to 8, so I have a stab at him win only. But yeah, he went through the race at Cheltenham like a well handicapped horse.
Yeah, no, he did. Yeah. Okay, great stuff. Right. Well, let's look at the world's most famous steeplechase. Let's try and chuck in as many Grand National bingos as we can in this last 10 minutes. I'll just there's two that I fancy, and then I was watching the Road to Aintree, and I see that Ruby Walsh has actually put up both the horses that I'm about to put up. Obviously, we didn't confer or anything like that.
Ruby wasn't in Swindon last night, was he?
I don't think so. I can't really see Ruby in Swindon, to be fair. I can't really see many people in Swindon, to be fair. Jesus Christ. I thought Gloucester was horrible, but yeah, that's a whole new level of horrible. Okay. I really do fancy, obviously, Ruby's dad's horse, Any Second Now. I backed him last year. I know he's got a lot more. He's got nearly more, nearly Stoke more.
Well, he got £2 for the run last year, and then he ran over hurdles.
Yeah.
And they gave him another 5.
I know.
They gave him the 2 for the run.
I know.
And then they gave him another 5.
Yeah.
But, is racism or ethnic criticism or come on, he gave him 2.
I think,
and then he gave him 5.
Ted's horses are obviously in good order. The way he jumped round last year, I do really fancy him, and I also really fancy Longhouse Poet. I was really interested watching the Road to Aintree, and the fact that how the complexion of the race has changed. Now you need to be sort of a classy, speedy stayer rather than a plodder. And if you look back through the nationals of the last 10 years, you can see how that has evolved. So they're my two, Longhouse Poet and Any Second Now. I will go to John because we all know he loves chasing. John, your Grand National fancy, please.
I like Enjoy the Lane. I think it's had a significantly spooky prep.
Halloween spooky, carrot spooky.
Well, a bit of carrot jam.
Logic spooky.
Bit of hurdling here and there and just sneaking about, really.
Okay.
I also like Longhouse Poet.
Okay.
For all the reasons Joe mentioned. I'm a little bit wary of Any Second Now because I don't like horses coming back to the national that you think should have won last year. There was one Bob Ogden had. Was it Ad Hoc?
Ad Hoc. There was Clam Royal.
Travelling like God knows what when it came down, and then it was always going to win a national, wasn't it? And
yeah. I'm back to.
Yeah, and it seems to happen. This.
Yeah, is it going to be one of those? Yeah.
There's an unlucky one every year, and everybody's saying, can't wait to back that next year, and then next thing you know, it's up £8 and runs like a stuck pig. But I don't think that happened with Ted's. I think he's targeted the race. Yeah. He's had an excellent prep. There's no reason why it shouldn't run well. But I think 10-to-1's pretty accurate, really.
Okay. Yeah, I do just have to, I'm sorry I don't remember your name, whoever it was who put this on Twitter, but I saw something absolutely hilarious on Twitter the other day where they called Santini HMS Santini. And that just really tickled me, so thanks to whoever put that on. I mean, yeah, he stays, but he doesn't have a pace for the modern national, does he? Really? No. Okay, Declan, what are you backing?
Yeah, look, I think you're dead right, Cathryn. Like you have to travel like a travelling thing in the national now. Like you have to be really up at the pace, and that's what I think is against Delta Work. While he's a multiple Grade 1 winner, he's kind of a hold-up horse, isn't he? Like he doesn't travel up there in the van, and I think you just have to do that. And it's sort of weights and stamina, I think, about the window a bit because I think they have so much fun. And the one I think's going to have the time of his life tomorrow was Freewheeling Dylan.
You love, yeah.
When he won the Irish National last year, I just thought, Jesus, there's a horse who'd love going around Aintree because he jumps for fun. Yeah. He got a bit of a freebie, but they just couldn't reel him back in. He was having such a good time last year in the Irish National. Just, look, it's going to be well watered. I don't know if there's any more rain due, but it's not going to be fast. They never let Aintree get fast. They can't, but if it was good ground, I think he'd be an absolute good thing. But I'm quite keen on him. I fancied him since he won at Fairyhouse last year, and I just think he's going to enjoy it. He can travel, he stays, he jumps, and if he doesn't get a fright over the first, he'll start to enjoy himself. I think he could be. He won't have to lead because they race so wide across the track. He'll just be having fun and. He mightn't know he's in a race until they come to the third last, and it could be hard to peg him back then. He could start to get serious. I know he's not coming here with an awful lot of form, but, that's how you handicap a horse as well, isn't it? Like,
absolutely,
you handicap them, get them to peak for the right day. And the other one, I only decided today I'd give him a chance, and I can't believe I'm saying this, but Samco can travel.
I know. I know. Yeah.
I've given this horse a lot of stick over the years. A lot of stick.
I love him. Absolutely love him.
He was hyped up, and I hate hype horses. And it just didn't materialise. He should have seen the fence sooner instead of going down the champion hurdle route. It was that, why would you send a chaser pick up bad habits the second season over hurdles? If he doesn't get a fright over the first tomorrow, he could really start to enjoy himself, and he can travel. He's probably not the strongest stayer in the world, but it might not matter if he's switched off and he's enjoying himself. He's not going to know he's in a race, till near home, and he could definitely outrun his price anyway.
Yeah, and I thought Sean Bowden was absolutely brilliant today on Mac Totty. Just like you could, He was absolutely. I really, a big fan of the Bowens. Okay, Neville, what's your fancy?
Well, in all honesty, you could probably fancy 15 or maybe even more in this race. It's just there's so many, but the two that I've come up with. My main fancy is Cloth Cap. I know that on his Kelso form from last year, and I know we're cherry picking his form, but he's better than 147. He's got to be at least £10 well in, and he was travelling well up until his wind gave out in the National last year. Mm-hmm. He's had a quiet season. Clearly, this has been the main aim, like I suppose many of them. But if you look through his form, his worst runs this season, and he's only had 4 runs since wind surgery from Aintree last year, and his worst runs have been when the ground's been soft. He doesn't want it soft. If you look through his best form, it's all on good or maybe just on the easy side of good. And last time at Doncaster, he came third. It got beat a long way, but it was soft that day, and he did travel well up until I think it was maybe approaching the second last. He jumped badly left-handed at Ascot when he would have been 4th off 150. Had he not jumped left-handed so violently at most of the fences, he'd have been right on the tails of the first 3 that day. But he did refuse, which you can't get. Obviously is a problem. But he's so well handicapped for me, Cloth Cap. I'm going to take a chance with. I backed him last year. I had a good bet on him last year, and that was off £1 higher than it is this year. And he was considered a handicap snip last year, so he's going to be my main tip. My other one is a horse that I don't think he was put in the race last time. Is the politest way to put it. Kildisart. Mm-hmm. Of Ben Paulings. They ran him over 2.5. He's a thorough stayer, this horse. Yeah. Ran him over 2.5. He got beat 23 lengths, but he was staying on nicely for no pressure at all. If you look back through his form, he finished second off 150 behind the conditional at the festival 2 years ago in the Ultima, and he's clearly been ready just for this. He's a fresh horse. He's had 1 run where it would have been like a racecourse gallop, and huge odds at 50 to 1. I think he's worth taking a small interest on. So Cloth Cap and Kildisart. Yeah. There's loads of value to be had in this race.
Yeah, I didn't realise Kildisart was 50s. Yeah, awesome. Okay, Quentin. Do you like Quentin? Obviously, I know you're a flat man through and through, but would the National be a race where you would sort of sit down and really do the study, or are you just
I've never backed the winner of the National, so maybe that tells a story, right?
There's only one a year, though.
Yeah, thankfully. Well, no, you got Midlands National, all these Irish Nationals. There's too many of them.
Sussex.
Exactly.
Sussex National, Devon National, Welsh National, Okay.
It's for me. It's any second now. That's my one dart. The race. The case that you made pretty much, Cathryn, was going well last year. Clearly unlucky in the run. Stays, gets the trip, jumps. It's solid. Solid enough for me. You probably play it each way, given you're getting 6-7 places. So. You can't really go wrong with that, and I expect not to lose money on the National by doing that.
Do you know what? I was sort of watching the races the last couple of days over the National fences, and watching back. I now have to sort of, you used to always see like beaches looming there in the distance, and now I actually have to count them to realise it is beaches.
the jump beaches to there before I realised they were coming to beaches.
Yeah, I know. I literally, I'm
was like, oh shit, was that it?
Yeah. I mean, I think our hilarious friend Icy, I think he put up that picture the other day of old beaches, and I mean, Jesus, that horse crashing like literally from the top. I mean, you couldn't have it these days, but it was some sight in the old days, wasn't it? It really was a spectacle. I never got to see the old beaches. I've only sort of walked the track since it's been modified, and it's been modified.
Do you not think it's better now, though?
I think it's a better.
It's definitely a better race now.
It's a better race now. Yeah.
But nobody wants to see. You don't want traps, do you? And that's what those fences were.
Yeah, absolutely not. And obviously there was, some of them there was no way around for anybody that was running loose and refusing. No, absolutely, I get it, but it's just
they still take some jumping though. You still have to jump them, and they more get a fright. And if they get a fright, forget about it. Like it's not. Some people make out now that it's easy to get around there. It's not, and it must be some thrill for the jockey still. And we do have a higher class race for it. I looked at an all-national today though. There was a big hole in the fence, so. I know I don't know. I might be in Fine Havens, but one jockey went through the fence. It was when a hurdle's knocked over. So I know they said there was a harder cord in back those days, but
railway sleepers there.
Railway sleepers. But somebody must have took them home with them because there's definitely a big hole in this fence.
There's that iconic shot of Red Marauders National where you've got Shea Barry flying through the air, Brave Highlanders under the fence with his head sticking out, and it's just absolute carnage. I was actually there that year, and I was working, and we were trying to relay the race to China, and
they love a bet. They absolutely love a bet.
Right? And my boss at the time presses mute and says, "How the fuck do I tell them there's only two left standing?" I was like, and it was just, I think literally every person that was working for Aintree that day, they had out on the course trying to catch the loose horses. It was unbelievable, that meeting. But anyway, if you are betting tomorrow, enjoy the Grand National. I still think I'm quite old fashioned. I think that it is still racing's shop window. And let's hope that everybody comes home safe and sound. And thanks for listening to us.